as Rick said, we're rolling out a number of these cybersecurity events across the country, and they're always really well attended. They're always attended by a mixture of large, medium and small companies and from companies across all sectors. So I think it just goes to show the appetite there is to talk about the topic and the fact that it touches all businesses from all sides of the economy. Like Rick, I'd like to thank strategic partners, University of Derby and Brown Jacobson, for partnering with this event. We really can't hold these kind of activities without the support of our members, so thank you again for that. The day is full of experts who are going to talk to us about the changing regulatory landscape, the changing face of technology and how that influences cybersecurity, and the people issues to do with cybersecurity. So I'm not going to touch on too much of that. What I want to talk about is a key element of policy that I think matters to businesses from all regions of the UK and in all sectors, and really hone in on the UK's data economy, because it's something that CBI members really want us to spend our time on and want us to talk to government about. But before I get into the meat of that, I'll tell you a little bit of a story. And like all good stories, it's about data protection. I won't give away too many details of it, because obviously that would make me part of the problem. But I can say it involved a US government department. That department sent out an email to its employees saying, we have 100 tickets to the Super Bowl. All you have to do is reply to this email with a few personal details, and the first 100 will get those tickets. They were inundated with a deluge of emails from their employees, in a government department this is, and some of those details that they were asked to put in were potentially quite sensitive. So after a couple of days, they invited 100 employees into a room. Sounds fairly ominous. And they thought they were picking up their Super Bowl tickets, but actually what they were going to was a day-long cybersecurity awareness course. Now, I don't recommend that from an employee engagement perspective, but it does tell you a story about, there is a lesson there for all businesses in terms of the need to protect data and the easiest route for potential data breach, as we saw in the questions, is potentially through our employees. And that matters because data really is the currency of the modern economy. In the latest figures, we estimate that the UK's economy is underpinned by a £240 billion data economy. And when you think of the fact that in the last 2 days we've created as much information as was created from the dawn of civilization to 2003, you can see the amount of data that's being created in society is just increasing exponentially day by day. And today, more than ever, data opens doors for businesses. So it helps you reach new customers, it helps you develop new and innovative products, and it helps you trade with the rest of the world. And it's great to see that businesses across the country are putting data at the heart of their business strategy. So whether you're a manufacturing business who's investing in the Internet of Things to help your machinery be more efficient, whether you're a professional services firm that is using artificial intelligence to make better decisions, or you might be from the banking sector who's using blockchain for a more secure set of transactions. All of this is based upon data, and each of these sectors is supported by a clear regulatory framework. And this framework we've got is, in part, a product of the fact that we've been members of the European Union. It's European law that we're governed by. We are also world leaders when it comes to the data economy. So as well as the overall value being 240 billion, when you look at data flows across borders, despite the UK's GDP being less than 5% of global GDP, 10% of data transfers that go across borders flow through the UK. That's quite an incredible stat. Of that 10%, 3/4 of those data transfers are from the UK to or from another EU country. So the amount of information that is exchanging borders from the UK to other parts of the EU is absolutely huge. And to keep that data flowing, we need a strong regulatory framework, both now and when the UK leaves the European Union. So the government's doing certain things to try and provide that certainty. introduced a data protection bill, which is going through Parliament at the moment, and the CBI is lobbying on your behalf to make sure that that has the right things in it. What it's really there to do is to implement the General Data Protection Regulation, the GDPR. I'm sure if you don't know about it, you certainly will by the end of today know that the GDPR is coming in. It's something that affects you. And it gives business a clear framework for the standards that they have to adhere to. And it should give consumers more confidence that their data is safe. But in the long term, just having the regulation in place at the domestic level isn't enough to enable businesses to continue to transfer data across borders and to continue to process their customers' data in the way that they do now. In the long term, what we need is called an adequacy decision from the European Union. And what this means is that the UK can prove that our data laws and the business environment that we have meet the EU standards. Businesses that we've spoken to are absolutely united on this point. An adequacy decision is the gold standard that enables data flows. It's proof that our country and our business environment really protects data of citizens. And this will give us the ability to have the uninterrupted data flows that we need. The problem is, adequacy decisions that have happened in the past have been between the EU and a third country, a non-EU member, if you like. So the model at the moment, for it to work, we would have to leave the European Union first and then negotiate an adequacy decision. And to give you a sense of how long that might take, the last country that managed to negotiate an adequacy decision was New Zealand, and it took them 4 years to negotiate that deal. And that's 4 years that business does not have. And it would put considerable uncertainty on the companies in this room and beyond. And it's not just the tech sector that's going to be impacted by this change. I can't make this point strongly enough. It really is the whole economy. So if I'm a fashion brand in Birmingham, I want to send out a marketing email to tell customers about my latest product. I want to personalize that email with the customer's name, perhaps their location, a host of other data that will make the email be more appealing to the customer and tell them more about the product. Right now, I don't really have to think too much about the standards of what I need to do from a regulatory perspective to do that marketing email. But without a deal on Brexit, there's much less certainty about what I need to do. Can I store that customer's name in the future? Can I store their location? Can I even keep hold of their email address? It's much less certain. Can I even personalize my marketing at all in the future? Without a firm legal basis and without that adequacy decision, we think it's less than clear-cut. And the GDPR has countless other protections and procedures that companies need to put in place over the next period. And we can't have businesses scratching their heads, facing fines on the one hand for non-compliance with GDPR and extra compliance costs on the other, and trying hard to plan beyond Brexit without that legal certainty. Because with Brexit on the horizon, we're actually approaching a data cliff edge at the moment. GDPR comes into force on the 25th of May next year. That's just 44 weeks before we leave the European Union. And when the clock strikes midnight on March 29th, 2019, when we've left the European Union, we need to make sure that businesses can continue to process data in the way that they have done from the day before. And the way that we need to do that is by not only looking forward towards an adequacy decision, but making sure that in the Brexit negotiations, we are prioritising a transition deal which enables businesses to continue to operate until we've got that adequacy deal in place. And following CBI calls, we're delighted that the government, in its position paper published over the summer, has echoed some of that positioning. They've committed to transition and they've committed to trying to achieve an adequacy deal. But that's only half of the negotiation, isn't it? There's another side to that negotiating table. So the CBI is also doing everything that it can to work through our partners in Europe, to work with the equivalent of CBIs in other member states, to make sure that we're impressing on their governments the need to enable uninhibited data flows in the future. It's already affecting companies across the UK, so there's an urgency to this. We need to get this sorted relatively quickly. We've already heard about businesses talking about migrating their data centres overseas so that they can get the legal certainty in the absence of certainty at the moment. And you can consider the fact that 40% of the EU's total data center capacity is currently resident in the UK. You can see how that trickle of migration into the EU can soon become a flood. It really will affect jobs, growth, and prosperity if we enable it to happen. So we need to protect our data-driven business and the 240 billion data-driven economy. And business stands ready to work with government to make that happen. We just need the government to prioritise it in the Brexit negotiations going forward. That's about all I wanted to say. I wanted to impress on you that this is something that the CBI is working very hard to achieve on your behalf. It's great to be with you here today, and I'm looking forward to the discussions. So thank you very much.